please continue. Sorry.
Okay. So, happy morning to all of you. That once again today all of you have chosen to invest some time in your own health, and health indeed is wealth. Okay. So, firstly, let's do some warm up, because before we try practicing any asana, it will be better that we activate our organs so that they are ready to do the exercises which we will be doing in the today's session. Okay. So, I hope everybody has their yoga mat. Yeah. And along with the yoga mat, you'll need to stand up. We'll do some exercises standing up. Just a minute. I will need someone to hold my camera. Just a minute. Started. Okay. Okay. So all of you stand up on your yoga mat, and this is how we'll be doing. First, rotation of the shoulders and the arms. So like this. Okay. The movement is close your fist and from backward to front. This is how you need to do. Okay, and keep your neck straight. And when you take your arm from behind to the front, try that it touches the ears. Okay, you need not put your neck. Do not tilt your neck. Just try to keep it straight, but put your arms as close to the ears as possible. Okay, 5 repetitions with the right hand, then 5 with the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and then 5 with the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the same movement but anti-clockwise. Okay, are you ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With the another arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now let's do some warm up. In the sense, we are in our own place, but we will try running, jumping, or you can say jogging. Okay, it's called spot jogging. So slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, one more time. Now this time we will try and lift our legs a little more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Exhausting, or is it okay for everyone? You could put a thumbs up if we can go ahead. Okay, fine. Now next is on your yoga mat. Okay, and I'll put it like this. On your yoga mat, you try and spread across the legs and also the arms. You can observe first and then try. And now with the right hand, you will have to touch the left leg and come back to the starting position. Now, and the second time, you will have to touch the left leg, left hand to the right leg. Okay, so this is how the movement will look. 1, straight, 2, straight, 1, straight, 2, straight. One thing you need to check is whether your knees are bending. Okay, we don't want to do it with bent knees. In case you are not able to touch completely to the toe or the feet, it's okay if you can go up to this level to the knee or somewhere there. Okay, but do not bend your knees and try to touch. That would be wrong. Okay, so let's do 10 repetitions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, back to the original position. Okay, do you need a minute to breathe or rest? Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay, should we do this one more time? Okay, so once again, make some distance in the legs. Put your hands straight at the shoulder level, and then wait, continue. You can do it slow or fast at a pace which is suitable to you. 1, straight, 2, straight. 1, straight, 2, and straight. 1, and straight, 2, and straight. 1, and straight, 2, and straight. Last time. 1, and straight, 2, and straight again. Okay, fine. Now, today, instead of practicing any asana in yoga, we will try and do some different kind of exercise, which is called a combination of 2-3 exercises. Okay, so again, will need to do this by standing on our yoga mats. So this is how I'll place my yoga mat. Try and go behind till the end of the mat and try to stand on your toes. Okay. So this is how it will look like this. Like this. On your toes. Suppose you think you need balance, you can try and increase the distance between your legs like this. It becomes more easier. Okay. Or else, if you are closer to a wall, you can also take the support of a wall. It will be easy. Now this is the movement that we have to do 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Is it painful? You know, maybe some kind of pain you would get here, but it's not actually pain. It is a sign that your muscles around that area are working. Okay. Now, similar to the exercise we did right now, instead of standing on our toes, we will now try and stand on our heels. Okay. So, heel on the ground and rest of the leg, your feet, you will try and raise above the ground. So, it will be difficult if you put your feet together. Try and make some distance and then try and do this heel standing like this. If you're closer to wall, you can take support of the wall. Okay, and if you think you can balance yourself, try and do it without support from the wall. Okay. 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This exercise helps to strengthen the legs and the muscles of the legs, these muscles. Okay. So now we will do a combination of these two. We'll try and walk on the yoga mat in this position. So let's walk on our heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Then feet down. Just show me. Then feet down, and now on your toes try and walk backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, rest. Try and take support of the wall if you think you are not comfortable balancing. Okay, let's try and do this one more time. On your heel, you go ahead, and on your toes, you come back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then put them to the ground, and again. On your toes, you go backward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, let's do this fast for the one last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, the next is to do jumping jacks. Jumping jacks is in itself a very good exercise, almost covering, trying to work out with almost whole of the body. Okay, so let me show you the demo. Feet at a little distance, okay, and we jump like this. You can hold it like this. 1. Okay, so this is how it will look. Okay, so this is a jumping jack. Try and put your hands close when you're jumping up, and you try and put your feet together, and then again when we come down, legs, feet are spread apart and hands come down. Okay, easy to understand. Let's try 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Take a minute. Calm down. One more time. Okay, again 10 repetitions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, good enough? Give a thumbs up if you like it. Okay. One more time. Now try and see that, okay, can I do it better than what I did last time? Okay, if you can do it better than last time, maybe your speed will increase. Okay, maybe your speed will increase and you can do it much faster. Okay. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, done. You want to sit down for a minute on the yoga mat? You can sit. Try and breathe slow. We did some jumping. It could have kind of increased your workout, cardio. Okay, so just sit for a while and close your eyes. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jagrati ji. Just 1 minute, one announcement.
Okay.
This group, this session is Zoom meeting is only for Charitra group, kids 14 and above. There is another group that is happening in parallel, session happening in parallel for kids group 8 to 13. Please join that group. The meeting ID and the password should be in the emails that was sent to you. If you don't have it, please check with your parents. Okay, so this group is for 14 and above. Thank you. Sorry, Jagrati ji, please continue.
Okay. So one last time, what we'll try and do is try and develop a circuit of the 3 new exercises that we learned today. One was this spot jogging that we did. Another was the jumping jacks that we did. This. Okay. And third was the toe walking and heel walking. Okay, this is what we did. So let's try and combine these 3 exercises in one pack, and we will do 10 repetitions of each of these 3 exercises in continuity in a circuit. Okay, so are you ready? Stand up on your let's walk. First we'll do the toe and heel walking, then we do the squat jogs, and then we do the jumping jacks. Okay, 10 each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On the toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Now, squat jogs 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? You can do it as per your counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now 10 jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? This completes one circuit. Okay? Do you feel okay? Do you think you need to rest? How is it? Let me know. Good, Swasti. Okay, others have not put on the video, so I am not able to see how they are doing. Okay, should we repeat this circuit one more time? Okay, and that would be sufficient for today's session. Yeah, a quick one. Come on. This will, the first one, toe and heel standing and walking, this will help your legs. Okay, spot jogging, again, the legs plus the cardio, because our heart works to help us pump faster. And third is the jumping jacks. This is again workout for the legs, the hands, the shoulders, as well as the cardio. Okay, so let's begin. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now the spot jogs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again 10, but this time with legs lifted a little more off the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now 10 jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the last one 10. Okay? Good. Did you enjoy? When you do not want to, when you are not in a very serious mood to do yoga, you feel that it's boring. Okay, you can combine these kind of a circuit exercise. This will be fun for you, for your siblings if you are doing along, and this will help you. Okay, now you can sit down on your mat and let's try a very small experiment, because now we are tired. We have done some good exercise of the cardio, of the legs, of the hands, and we could be, kind of, our breath would be heavy. Let's do a very simple, something for the brain and the mind, something for the body. So very simple. Can you see with your open eyes? Yes or no? Yes, we can all see with our open eyes. But tell me, can you see with your closed eyes? If you close your eyes, can you see? Well, if you say that we cannot see with our closed eyes, let's try a small experiment. Close your eyes and see a black cat. Did you see a black cat? If you see, open your eyes and put a thumbs up if you think you saw a black cat. Okay. If you close your eyes and try to see a green color tree, are you able to see a green color tree with your closed eyes? Give a thumbs up if you can see a green color tree with your closed eyes. Okay. So this is a small experiment which we'll try doing with our closed eyes. All of you relax, sit in a calm position and close your eyes. You can lie down on the mat if you wish to, or if you wish to sit, you can sit. Close your eyes and visualize a green color tree. A green color tree, color which is green, bright. Okay, a color which is nice, appealing to your eyes, appealing to the heart. Try and see a green color with your closed eyes. And imagine that green colorful rays, they are being absorbed by your body. Green color rays are being absorbed by your body. And you feel a nice, happy smile. Put a nice, happy smile on your face. Put a nice, happy smile on your face. Green is a color which heals the heart. Green is a color which refreshes us. Green is a color which brings smile to our face. Green is related to nature. Green is related to Mother Earth. Green puts smile on our face. Okay, with your closed eyes, you are visualizing a green tree, a green color which is bright, nice, a color which, a tree which has passed on the green color rays. These green rays are being absorbed by your body and you feel happy, healthy, nice. You put a smile on your face with this green color coming to your body. Okay. Along with this green color coming to you, just try and focus on your breathing, inhaling and exhaling. It can be at a normal pace. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Okay. One last time. Try and inhale and exhale at a slower pace. Deep inhale and deep exhale. Okay. And with this, now you can put both your palms together. Put both your palms together. And rub the palms against each other. Rub the palms against each other. Put them on your closed eyes slowly. Don't press the eyes, but just try and put them on your closed eyes. The warmth which is generated, the positive energy which is generated in the palms is now going to your eyes, and then try and put that palm on your face and slowly open the eyes. Okay. I hope you liked the last experiment that we did. And with this, that was sufficient for today's session. And Manojji.
Thank you, Jagruti ji. That was very much refreshing. I guess kids loved it. Let's hope that. And thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Next, we have our next speaker ready. Our next speaker is Dr. Devendra Mehta. Let me introduce him quickly. Dr. Devendra Mehta is a pediatric gastroenterologist and associate professor at Florida State University. He's also the director of Translational Research Laboratory at Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital in Orlando. He conducts research in a wide array of gastrointestinal disorders as well as meditative practices and fasting in Jainism. With his family and student volunteers, he has set up a charity called Climb Up in memory of his parents and has conducted several school projects in UP, Rajasthan, Gujarat, as well as South America, embedding therapy that includes Jain yoga for children with poor grades and learning difficulty and attention deficit disorder. He teaches medical students and doctors and has lectured worldwide and also has authored many publications and several book chapters. He has deep interest in Jainism and has completed all major pilgrimage and remains totally inspired and devoted to the late Acharya Mahapragya and Acharya Mahashraman, as well as the Venerable Samanijis. With their guidance and blessings, he practices 12 Anuvrats of a Shravat, fasts regularly, and has recently completed his Varshitab along with the Samanijis. His toughest challenge is learning Prakrit, the language of our Agams, along with the fellow Sangh members and from Samanijis. So Dr. Devendra Mehta, We welcome you, and floor is all yours.
All right, I'll need to share the screen at some point. Welcome everybody from around the world. I'm happy to talk to you, and since you're all over 14, in my books you're all adults, so I'm going to talk to you like adults. I hope you appreciate that. We'll share some slides, and of course the slides will be, once I can share them, the slides will be with enough text and words that you should be okay. Now, as we start, you all have had an excellent yoga session. Excellent. I was listening to that also and practicing with you. If you have your mats there, keep your mats actually. And maybe as part of what we're going to talk about, we can do a little experiment. So the ones who have a mat, you can try and work through the pratikam we're going to talk about. Try and stay in the pratikam and see if you can benefit from that. And we'll do a little experiment. So there'll be a question after this based on who could do this, and we'll see. It'll be a simple research that we'll do amongst our group, just for fun, okay? No competition, just for fun. All right, so let's dive into the talk. So science of Pratikaman. So we are going to take a medical angle. So what are we afflicted with? What is that we are going to be fixing? Well, let's call this name karmitis, karma-itis, right? Everything in medicine is itis. So what is karmitis? Well, in a medical sense, this is a malignant condition that can grow or shrink, and its main task is to obscure the deeper reality beneath our apparent likes and dislikes, so apparent world that we live in and what we see. This malignant condition kind of blocks that and obscures that and gets us into feeling what we see is real and gets confusing, right? Luckily, we're blessed with arhants, our tirthankars, who showed us a path towards this deeper reality, which then actually takes us to what we all want, is eternal joy. So it's kind of like the ultimate way to get to what we all really want. So along the way, they taught us many methods, and part of the core of this method is something called pratikraman, and it's a vital practice. So let's look at this wisdom from a medical modern day perspective, all right? So stay in that position if you can, stay in a position standing if you can, like you're meditating or sitting. If you can, let's focus, and I'll just ask you questions later of how well this has worked, okay? And don't forget, 48 minutes is Samik, so it might end up being 48 minutes. So it's kind of like a Samik we're doing. So first avashak is actually Samik. It's actually you saying, I accept my condition and I want to go to the hospital. So you're going to be admitted to hospital to address your condition, which is this karma-itis, right? So what is Samik? Well, Samik is the first avashak, which is staying in your equanimity. It's balance. You're keeping balance with black and white, balance with, as you saw in the image, some kind of balance where everything is equal. Equanimity. Equanimity with everything is equal. Good is equal to bad. Somebody slaps in your face with under the cheek. So Samik kind of teaches to be in that state. It is also solitude. You're actually going to be alone. You're kind of creating an environment where you're alone. And this helps you with purification of your self. So you're withdrawing from likes and dislikes, which includes withdrawing from others. So we clean our body, put on simple plain clothes. We have a quiet place and sit usually on a mat. And that mat is our area that we stay within. And a hospital is like an analogy for that, okay? When you're in a hospital, you kind of give yourself into the staff, you're dressed regularly like everybody else, you're no longer anything special, not special than the next person, you're in your little area, and that's where you stay. People may come and go, but mostly you're alone in a quiet place. All right, so what are the benefits of solitude? Has that been studied? Well, it has. There are randomized trials on solitude, just one part of course, Samai. There are 3 or 4 really good studies. This particular one is a more recent one, 2018, that I feel we should look at. they use 15 minutes because it's hard for people to focus or stay in solitude for more than 15 minutes, right? So it's undergrad students in the US. They had 4 groups. One was just comparing being alone without any other external sort of activities or messaging, and just see what happens in your social interaction. Second one is you use alone, but you have some activity like reading. You're reading something that they give you, all right? Third one, you're actually alone, and then you have either your own choice of picking a positive or negative thought that you wish, or that 2 others giving neutral thoughts, so that they're kind of your control group. And the fourth one is switching between a week on, a week off daily to see how that would impact your mood and your sort of general sense of well-being, all right? So it's close, not quite what we do, but certainly solitude part is very important to understand. So what does it do? What would you think? I mean, you could argue that it may be bad for you. You might get bored, you might get depressed. So let's see what they found. Well, interestingly, they found that if you were given an option and chose positive thoughts in group 3, you actually had more positive thoughts, enjoyed them more, and much more than the neutral group that didn't have any specific thoughts. And also you had more enjoyment than the control group. And when you're being quiet, so it helps you become quiet after excitement, which is one of the other arms, makes you calm after you're angry, and also centers you and into peacefulness when you desire. And having the choice itself helps you. Interestingly, if you did this daily for a week, and let's say you forgot, the effect outlasts for another week. So it's a powerful internal system that's changing, not just that particular moment. So it has more deeper change in you. So this says that we should be doing Samak all the time from this, only just one game. Problems, of course, are if you are told to do this and you stay, then of course you get negativity and it can be detrimental. In some situations in life, you end up being alone, you didn't choose it and didn't understand it, then of course it's a source of depression and detriment. So clearly you have to put in perspective what your goals are. So interesting. So when is it beneficial? Just to summarize from a nice sort of ifs from a professor at the University of Maryland. If it is good, if it's voluntary, if you can regulate your emotion effectively, that is say, I want to be positive, therefore I can stay positive. If you can then join a social group when desired, so you're not actually attached to just being alone. And then if you can maintain that positive relationship outside of it so that you can actually build on it. So that makes it powerful. All right, that's solitude. So what's the next step? All right, so keep thinking, keep focusing, who are sitting and standing, whichever position you're in. We're going to, this is an experiment we're doing, right? The second Avashak is seeking advice from the topmost surgeon. So who is the topmost surgeon, guys? Well, there's only one, right? Our Tirthankara and all our Tirthankaras. You cannot beat them, right? So that's where the second Avashak is. We basically adore and sing Samstuti or on our 24 Tirthankaras, typically Logas. But you can do other things also like the Motram. In this, we pray to them and admire their principal attributes. Remind us of their achievements from being human to then conquering all these. Human in a family, in some setup in a family with some responsibilities, and then they progress on to defeat their passions like anger, ego, deceit, and greed. And then we learn from that, and we will then want to stop those, right? So we appreciate the Tirthankaras for showing us a path of liberation. So they are just ultimately the most trustworthy entity ever, right? So that's going to be our topmost surgeon we could ever get an opinion from. And guess what? We have it. And how do we have it? Well, let's find out really whether knowing this will help us or not first. So just 1 second, little technical issue. Okay, good. So what happens with prayers? Well, it turns out that prayers have been studied across all cultures, and it's not been possible to find a good control group to sort of block the placebo effect of prayers. So some results are positive, some are negative. It's a very difficult thing to study. So anyway, that's just what it is. However, mantra meditation, which is just the mantra part, let's say we do Logas, but some mantra along those lines, has been found to be efficacious in a good control study. Now, many studies out there, but we choose ones that we want medically implement because we have control studies with a good arm and we know it's objective, right? So when you look at those, then yes, mantra meditation has had efficacy in a recent study in post-operative pain. This was actually dental pain for third molar removal, very controlled where it was healthy. And then when you do mantra meditation before and after, you need far less pain medication than if you did not do that. It's a very good study which has been quite objectively done. But much more work is needed, guys. So it's out there for you guys to think about how to do this. Important area to study. All right. What about trust in doctor? What about trust in somebody that you feel is wholly trustworthy? Well, that's also been studied in doctors particularly. So if you have trust in your doctor because of less your background knowledge, your feeling of they're good, and then when you see them and you have this trust because you see them and just feel this trust because of the way they look professional and also the way they act and connect with you, then it has amazing effects. It actually leads to far less worry and treatment anxiety, which sort of makes sense, but it also makes you calm, your heart rate. And then there's a thing called placebo effect, which can heal you, and it makes that woman better. It reduces pain or worry of pain if you're going to get blood work, let's say. Your treatment is less negative. You're expecting it to work well, and that itself seems to help. And then, of course, doing procedures like this surgeon is about to do, you will have less distress. I'm not sure about this particular surgeon, but generally you have less distress. And then typically you'll have less post-operative pain. So this has been studied with good data. And not all are RCTs, but many are good RCTs. So it makes sense to have faith. Faith is really what's strengthening us here. When we talk about faith in many ways in Jainism, this shows the power of faith in somebody you trust. So we have trust. We have trust in our Tirthankara that taught us this. This is the way to go. We're trusting it fully. We have an affliction. But how do we get it treated? What do we do next? Well, then we go to third avashak. So they already thought about this. This is a surgeon on call for the topmost surgeon. So this is their allies, right? In their division, their department, they're the members of that same community. And we've had these by word and by mouth and by teaching over years continually from the time of the Kevalis. We've had a continual link of this knowledge passed on, right? So we kind of can trust that, really. And so what we do one now. We say, fine, we do bow to you. We trust you, to the monks and nuns, and express our reverence to them. They are current religious guides. We pay respect to them for sparing some of their valuable time just to help us, because guess what? They don't actually get paid. We bow down. That generates feeling of humbleness because we're saying we're below you and we want to aspire, and it overcomes a sense of ego and anger. It kind of helps some of our issues already. And it also reminds us that sometime we too have to renounce worldly attachments like them, because it clearly is the way to go from what the Tirthankaras, the topmost surgeon taught us, all right? So what is the importance of this? Well, guess what? Bowing studies also have been done, all right? They're mostly done in the East. Some cultures, of course, that do this. However, I think they're humans and they're still relevant to all of us, right? Bowing motion itself, independent of faith, activates cognitive schemas relating to politeness and submissiveness. So, of course, we think it happens, but they've actually studied and showed it actually happens. What's important, though, which is a new one for me until I looked this up, is that when you bow and polite and submissive, it actually makes the other person look at you more as a more attractive person. It's not actually what we think where I bow down, I might feel like I'm weak and I'm sort of low and feeling depressed. In this setting where it is to respect, it actually makes you, in inverted commas, attractive to them, right? It's very interesting. So it shows you there's a lot more going on than just the fact that I'm bowing down, all right? So some research there, which I think is corroborating what we do. All right. So then what do you do? Well, you've got to make diagnosis. Hey, doc, how bad is it? The fourth hour. Normally the doc will do MRIs, CT scans, echoes, cost you $1 million and maybe or maybe not give you an answer. Well, here it's far more secure, far more certain, and it is far more predictable, all right? A log scale more than when you see a doctor who does all these tests, right? So we do something called pratikraman. What is this? Well, based on the guidance, you turn back to yourself, right? You have had transgressions of some things you should not be doing, particularly those karmas, and we'll talk about them. They're called atikraman, and you're basically acknowledging them, all right? These are atichas, these are ones that you transgress, and you know them actually. And sometimes they can guide you, trip you into thinking about them, but you actually know them, right? You know what you may have done wrong. And so you're basically going to use self-diagnosis with the help. We're supposed to have about 12 minor verbs or anuvrats. And of course, we may not have all of them. That's okay, but that's kind of a direction you can head, as opposed to 5 major ones the monks and nuns have. And during Pratikaman, we overview these activities and where we broke the line, right? Where we broke the line that we had set ourselves, right? So when you do these 12 minor verbs, you actually set them yourself where you wish. And then as you learn that journey with guidance, you'll get better at it. And there are 5-fold main principles related to these, which is how much do you know, how perceptive you are, what your behavior, your character, your performance, your charitra is. Then, of course, your austerity, how much you can limit yourself. And then, of course, the vigor, the effort, the actual strength and effort you put into to apply yourself to this. So they're important pieces. Again, keep sitting in those thinking poses if you can. Try and focus back. This talk isn't very long, but it's important, right? Let's see how we can learn from this, and we'll, of course, do this research project as a group. So keep doing that. All right, so then how do we manage this? You know, my curvitis, how severe is it, doc? Well, as I mentioned, surgeons will help remove it. Don't worry, they're there. They're there at phone, at video, or at phone calls, visit, walk. They're there and they're free. So even if you haven't taken those 12 vows, you can still atone for lapses and wish that one day you can take them. So it still is open to you. The door is not closed at any time. All right. So it actually is Search for Dummies. You can all do it. We can all do it. We don't need a degree. All right. Good. So the 5th one then is what happens afterwards. Well, you need some ointment and wound dressing, and you kind of want to make sure it doesn't come back, right? So first of all, we do ointment and wound dressing, and in a way, Kausar can represent that. It's of course a lot more than that. It's made of 2 words, kaya meaning body and utsarg meaning giving up. So during kautsarg or kayatsarg, you give up physical activities and concentrate upon the true nature of the soul. That's the underlying reality, the depth, the ones that we talk about that we are not seeing as well as we'd like. And you realize you're distinct from your body, and that reality is what we're aiming to get to. Your soul then rectifies its transgressions a little bit more cleanly. You're like in a meditative setting. We will typically recite logos. We can do Noka mantra also. And basically, if it's logos, for each line you breathe, and therefore you have 25 breaths. So it actually is a meditation with 25 breaths, right? And logos is kind of like a metric, a meter that helps you get to those respirations. So by practicing this, we slowly but surely get control of our physical and verbal activities and ultimately mental activities. It's a journey that is, for us, powerful. But what does research say? Well, let's look at it. Let's see what science says. Well, there are many, many studies on meditation. It's really another talk. And, you know, for example, we use this Preksha meditation, just 2 steps, the Mahapran, the buzzing sound, and then color meditation. In this particular study with green in some US college students, about 140. And we found that their positivity improved, the negativity declined dramatically after 8 weeks, even if they're in college with all the exams and stresses. And more so, they found other benefits, which we also know of meditation, like the math skills got better, their memory of words and shapes got better. And really, so even with our Jain meditation, the data's there. And it goes to the DNA and RNA. So we're actually looking at that RNA and DNA of the ones who did not improve. We're already seeing signals of many pathways that are upregulated, that are beneficial for immune system and your general well-being, and the negatives are downregulated. So it's a much more deeper effect. Specifically, just cardiac studies are actually missing. So this is another hot topic that some of you want to pick up as you get older. These are studies that are very easy to do in a sense. And maybe what we're doing right now is going to be a study along that line with you guys. Other aspects that include cardiac as a significant part are there. There are few. And one particular good study, which was done with the blessing and involved one of us famous Samanjis, alpha waves increased, which is a beneficial calming kind of EEG finding after 4 months of practice of particular combination pressure medication, but not 2 months. So you have to do it for a while. Okay, but it's a good study, and it sets a tone for very good standard studies with controls and a proper scientific merit. Okay. So then what do we do? Well, then you get to the 6th one. This is where we want to kind of stop it coming back. We want to medicate or give a tonic, right, medically. So if you have a cancer, I'll give you a chemotherapy agent that will stop it coming back and prevent it. You know, if it's a cardiac thing, I'll give it medication tonics. We'll do things like that. There's a common way to kind of keep people well and prevent them from becoming sick again. Well, that's what Pratyakyan is. Incredible, right? So Pratyakyan or Pachkan is exactly taking a vow, or basically it's a medication, if you like, a method to say, I want to renunciate certain activities to help me stay in the zone of trying to find out where this true reality exists in me and understand it. So by renunciation, you close doors to incoming sort of bad karmas to increase your karmitis. And then you can do it for particular activities at the time. And each time you do that, even for a few minutes, you're winning the war, right? If you are, let's say, not eating for 2 hours, say, okay, I plan not to eat 2 hours, well, that's still going to help you. And the Samniji and the monks will teach you that. It gives you a glimpse of how you control. So you learn the practice of control and the success of it, and you feel that positivity and you feel like you renunciate. And I particularly vouch for that. This helps you introduce discipline in your life and prepare a mind for ascetic life one day, which is probably going to be the only way you're going to get to our ultimate goal. All right. So many ways to do this, and that's your Pratyakyan or Pachkan, and very powerful. So what does science say on that? Well, guess what? People are doing this, and we call them in the medical sort of, or in science, they call them simplifiers or minimalists, depending on what they're doing. 2 or 3 terms like that. So if it's voluntary that you're choosing to, and of course that means you always have philosophy, right? Then there are few very good studies that the link was explicitly examined, where they had good controls, really as if you could rely on a medical therapy kind of level. And they found that if you're voluntarily simplifying, compared to the group that did not, but identical in many other ways, you are far happier. This was objectively done across board. You have high levels of life satisfaction with high degrees of simplifying behaviors. Experiencing high levels of life satisfaction itself led to other benefits over time that they studied. Again, hard to do, but actually, despite that, they did a pretty good job. So you look at the studies, actually, it's very convincing. It's not just because the right people did it. It was actually done in a good way to control for that. So already we know it's a good thing. Are we surprised we're finding evidence that what the Tirthankara said was true? No surprise, but there is science behind it. But the best proof, of course, is the Jain Dharma and all our predecessors and current people who are ascetics ahead of us. That is the best proof of that. If you watch the happiness, the smile on the face, the energy, the activity they have, is just phenomenal. You know, if you go to Mumuksha, which are the training schools or where they exist, and actually just observe, they are constantly bubbly, happy. It's just, you can just perceive the joy, and they're not even in their journey yet. So I think the best proof is what we see ourselves, and that's often the best science. All right. So the natures of karmitis, which is a term I coined just for today, don't use it in another setting. There's, of course, it comes into your soul, and we call that ashra, and that's been happening from time immemorial. We've always been here. We've never really started, and we're never going to end. It's just where we are in the journey. And then our idea is to stop this, right? So we yield to this technique to say we want to stop this, right? And that's where Samak will help and all the steps we talked about. And then we move forward and say we want to eradicate what we already have. And that's what we talked about, right? Attached to a soul, and that's called Nidra. So this is a journey for a long, long, long way that we're going to have to follow. And ultimately, of course, we will succeed, as I'm sure you all will, because that's why you're on this chat line. You're all going to get there, and I'm trusting that, just because that is what my inner heart tells me. And ultimately we'll get to moksha. All right. Good, good. So I think I want to give you some time for questions and answers. And if you want any slides to be shown again, let me know. If you want to try questions through the chat line, that's one option you have. If anyone wants to be unmuted, just hold your hand up and we'll do that also.
Your questions? Looks like everybody has understood the topic very well, Doctor.
They're worried I might operate on them. Good. So any of you who has sat in any position that's like meditative to this or try to, just let us know. And whenever you get a chance, we'd like to know whether you found that your recall of the talk is better because you did that. Sometimes when we listen to talk, it's hard to focus for more than a few minutes at a time. But I suspect if you're in this position, you have just had yoga, you might be actually far more able to do that. And that might help you in your future studies to kind of sequence things in a way that you're in the best frame of mind when you're studying or complex tasks, particularly if you've got exams coming up. What you learned before this talk would be a good way to prepare yourself so that you're, as I mentioned before, your benefits outlast your time. You're actually going to feel better for a while. So if you do this, it'll last for a period of time and you get benefit.
So any questions, kids? Please feel free. I mean, we have a great doctor amongst us who is practicing science and religion together, and he has done so many experiments. You know, we should take advantage of his knowledge that we have over here. Okay, if there's no question, maybe I can ask kids the kids question. So how many of you are aware of Pratikaman and the 6 avashyaks?
Sir, I.
Yes, Soham, you wanted to say something? Okay, can anybody tell me what is Pratikaman and what are the 6 avashyaks? Okay, Ushma Shah, can you, I know you said you're aware of the 6 avashyaks. Can you speak up and let everybody know? I know many people might be knowing it, but just you have time and we can all go through that again, all the 6 avashyaks. Okay, she's typing. You can unmute yourself, Ushma, if you want to. Okay, that's fine. So she said Samaik, Chavisanto, Pratikaman, and then what are the remaining 3? She's fixing her mic. So in the meantime, can anybody else answer? Yes, thank you, Rishi and Kavesha, Vandana. We still need 2 more. Kayat sir, yes. And what is the last one remaining? Pratyakyan. Very good.
Good job, good job.
So kids are paying attention, and I'm glad that they are aware of all this 6 avashyaks and Sama and Pratikaman. The doctor mentioned that in the Pratikaman we take 12 vows. Is anybody aware of the 12 vows? What are they called in detail? Anuvrats, I see. Do we have Shamliji's in the room to start, since we is finished a little bit early? Maybe we can start early. And if she's not, I see her, Shamliji's. Or maybe in the meantime, Shamliji's unmute themselves. Maybe one question from myself, Dr. Devendra Bhai.
Sure.
How did you come up with this analogy of associating karmatitis and pratikaman? Can you just give me some background on that?
Well,
that's very interesting analogy.
Yeah, it started off with a lecture in 2015 from one of the Samnijis actually, and they had a version of this which sort of helped you understand each step well, I thought. And then with the current Samnijis, we kind of elaborate a little bit more detail, so to give it a little bit more of a practical side. But it kind of gives an idea of which each step means. Sometimes you do the steps and you kind of forget the, if you like, which part of your journey is helping with. And I think since we normally will understand other medical kind of treatments and things will help us. But what's very interesting is how much data there is in science to show it actually each step is so powerful. And I'm always amazed at how well Maharaj Bhagwan or the Kevalis actually, they knew so much and so well that every time we look at any area that they taught us, there is true data available to confirm that. I've never had anything that refutes what they've taught us in any stretch, in any research that I've seen or conducted myself. And so it just tells you how blessed we are with their teaching and, if you like, their guidance. And that affinity and that, like, if you like, faith, it gets stronger every time you see this. Every time you look at an article and looks at something that they taught us, and it invariably affirms it, and of course there's a lot more that they've taught us that we haven't tested yet. So it's very important way to explore and sort of, I feel, strengthen your faith. So that's how I did it. I think it was interesting when I learned that lecture. As I went over and looked at some of the research in that, and all this is pretty up to date. This is kind of the data up there. So, and many of them are Americans. These are not even an Indian sort of studies, really. They're international studies. So, very strong.
Yeah, this also reminds me of in JVB. This JVB center was formed with the vision of the Acharya Tulsi and Acharya Mahapragyaji. And just last week we celebrated Acharya Mahapragyaji's 100th birth anniversary. And he has given many jewels, many jewels from deep into the Jainism. And one of his research and his philosophy was science of living. It's called Jivan Vigyan. He developed an education system, which is a very practical approach for the balanced development of students and the character building. And we at Jain Vishwabharati follow Jivan Vigyan. So I guess if nobody has any question, we can move on. Shamliji, are you there? I see Tarak Doshi. Do you want to say something, Tarak? No. Okay. Shamliji? Looks like she's still continuing her lecture in the other class. So we have about...
One other thing that I wanted to just emphasize is, it's interesting how in schools now, they're teaching more about Jainism here and there. I'm sure the kids have come across that. The Samnijis have been instrumental in being part of the academic spheres, even outside India, even England and America. there at universities, for example, at University of London, then there, of course, University in Miami, and also attached to others around the country. So what actually happens is those professors who work with them get to know Jainism better. They, of course, do research. And then the next step is it gets into the book. So now if you go to learn religion, let's say, in university and Religion 101 or any subject, the textbook has a whole section on Jainism that didn't have before. So it becomes a required learning as opposed to something that is optional because of small faith. You know, in the past, there's just a big main faiths, and then you kind of move on. If you wish to, you can pick, let's say, Jainism. Now it becomes central and necessity. So what's happening as we move forward with the studies interaction is that in general, academicians, right, teachers, your teachers at school, but even their guides who give them the books to teach, the educators who decide the curriculum, the ones who then write the books in a way that's authentic from their point of view, they all realize that the Jain experience, but particularly Tirthankars, is central to the human man experience. It's a shared experience that all man should have access to, not just the Jains, because we've discovered, or our Kevalis and Tirthankars, and you guys are practicing, have discovered so many things that are human, that every human being should want to learn. And that allows you to stand up tall. You know, now worldwide, people will know more about Jainism with respect, in fact, deep respect. And so a very simple example is when you have these scholars discuss about right and wrong, and they talk about good and bad, it's extremely rare that they won't mention Jainism now. They'll mention how Jain monks and nuns will happily walk in the heat, right? They'll happily walk barefoot. They'll happily stand rather than sit if that saves lives. So they'll give up all the internal comforts, right, to help other lives, right? And yet they're happy, right? So if you look at it, the West in the past, and even in a way, you're happy when you have more. You know, when I have my car, I'm happy. When I have a big house, I'm happy. When I have a big job and I get employed, I'm happy. And so that's how all studies and professors should talk about, right? How to achieve your goal and get happy because you get something. Now, the same people start to talk about how happiness actually is, if you like, deeper in that scientific sense when it is giving up as our master. So when you go and look at the Jain monks around, yeah, they're doing really good work. They're hard, they gave up a lot, and you're learning from them. But also look at them and say, wow, they've figured out and they're happy, right? They're joyous, as I mentioned. And they're in a journey for joy. It looks hard. It looks like they're having a tough time, but they're actually doing something for greater joy than we have, right? My best job, my best of, let's say, you know, exam, that's short term, right? This is not short term. This is a long-term thing. So in essence, it's like the depth of what we want to go is this path. And that's what they're doing. So they're a living example how we can achieve that. So next time you go and see them, just look and see how happy they are, right? Just look how bubbly they are. Look at how much radiance they have. And what you're looking outward, their very simple clothes or hard, is actually just a step to that victory. It's not actually what you would consider uncomfortable in the long term. It's the right thing to do. So that has percolated through. So when I talk to other profs, it's almost like I don't have to tell them anymore. They'll tell me, they'll ask me more questions. They will not need to know. You know, I will no longer have to say I'm a Jain. Who's a Jain? It's the opposite. Oh, you're a Jain? Well, I read this. Can you explain that to me? So it's a very different dialogue now. So all of you should feel, even though we're a minority, we actually are now very well respected, I think. And you should be able to explore, do research, do studies, anything you're interested in, and you'll find an audience out there that's just ready for you. It's a really wonderful time, and you're actually growing in a very wonderful time where Jainism is very well respected.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Shamlija is she's still running her session in the other class, but really thank you for this great lecture. But I'm so glad, we have about 32 kids participating, on a Sunday. They could be doing many other things other than, go watch a movie or just sleep because it's a Saturday morning. Who wants to go and hear some lectures, But I'm so glad, and you should be thankful to them and to their parents that they are encouraging their kids to embrace, follow Jainism and, practice Jainism also. So maybe a quick question to all the kids, how many of you would be interested to learn about 12 vows or anuvrats? If you can raise your hands so we know, so we can, set up a lecture. Or if you know everything, then that's great. But if you don't know, if you'd like to learn more, if you can raise your hand, please. That's good. 1, 2. It's very good. Few of the kids know them very good. I'm glad they know them. A lot of these kids are not aware, but I'm so glad a lot of kids know over here. All right, we probably might think about doing one. So those who know, it will be a refresher for them. And those who don't know, I'm sure they would like to, they would understand more deeper understanding of why we take this 12 hours. Doctor, since we still have some time, somebody just still wrapping up the other session, maybe another question to you is, when I was reading your introduction, I see that you have done some research with the students with meditation and ADHD, ADD, attention deficit disorder. Can you just speak a little bit about that, please?
Sure. Yeah, I think this is so. If you all of you, when you go to school, you probably have some children in class. Maybe your friends, maybe not your friends, but other children in class who have a tough time focusing. They're usually really a bit more, if you like, hard for the teachers to manage. And sometimes they can't study well. They can't focus enough to get good grades, and they often look like they're not very smart. And particularly at the ages of, let's say, 6 to 12, 14, or 16, they often will not do well. Okay? And it looks like they're naughty. They don't listen. They're just outwardly naughty. It looks like they just don't care. If anything, they might even disrupt your studies, let's say. So some of them, quite a few of them may have a condition which is called ADHD, where they actually have difficulty paying attention. It's just a mechanism that is not quite working in the center of their brain, where there's a place where you control your, where you're looking and focusing. Let's say I'm looking at you now, but I could be looking outside the window, listening to somebody talking there. And how do I know how to focus on you so I'm not rude or I'm focused? Well, there's something in our brain that tells us that this is what's important to you right now, so I'm going to focus. And if that's not working well, which is no fault of mine, then my mind will wander to the bird out there, and I'll look at the bird and the bird poop and forget to listen to what you said. And so I might create chaos, right? And learning is hard. So what we did is we picked quite a few schools, started one in UP, and then we did one in Rajasthan near Ladnan. We would take these children in school that were actually flunking. They all tend to flunk. So we take all the kids who are flunking in class, the teachers identified. We checked the parents and teachers, and we did this metric, which tells us this is a problem they have. It's like we said, it's a diagnostic tool, it's a test. So we found that they had a problem. We did a diagnostic test that we kind of talked about in the start. And based on the test, we found the magnitude of the problem. We found that something like 8 to 9% of the children in any class in general were affected by this. And that seems to be true worldwide. Somewhere between 5 to 10% have this problem. It doesn't matter how rich you are or poor you are, it's nothing to do with that. It's just a question of having this lack of control. So then we did is we have a treatment in America, which is called multimodal, where we teach them how to do physical therapy and play therapy and whatnot. And they often help them focus before we start medications. So in India, what we did is we switched it around and added yoga, which is praksha meditation that you saw earlier today, something along the lines we did today. And we then added play, which is certain games that are, you've all played games like Jenga, where you kind of take a piece of a pile, and if you make a mistake, the whole thing falls down. That takes a lot of focus. Or some card games where if you don't focus, you're going to miss your turn and lose. So we picked some games, and then we would teach them, and they would do this twice a week at school before class starts. And what made it special was the smarter kids like you who were willing to spend time volunteer to help. So we actually trained kids your age to help these kids also. So you'd be one of your two with the 4 or 5 of these kids with issues twice a week in school. And those kids would then do that and go to class. And so we did that for a couple of years in one school. And interestingly, about 70 to 75% improved so much that we could no longer call them ADHD. Within a year, when we revisit them and checked on them, or with their parents, every scored them as being, wow, they listen, they behave, they couldn't imagine they would work. Some stories we had is there's a child in a class of 40 who would be at the back, and for 2.5 years or so before we did this, had never even talked to the teacher. And within 4 weeks of this program, went up the teacher to say, oh, what's my homework tomorrow? The teacher was stunned. Like, what happened? So it's a very palpable, vivid thing. So the program worked very well, but the 30% required more help, which we did provide. We had some medications we managed to help them with, and that worked very well. And then we took this program and spread it in other parts. The results were stunning. They're published in a journal, as you can imagine. And so we did that in Ladnun. We did that in Gujarat. People know Palitana. We did a school there, which is a charitable school. And they had a lot of children who are from the Doli, the Dolaks who carry you upstairs, and then all the people, the rickshawalas, and people who support Palitana, but are not necessarily Jains. Some are, but not necessarily so, of all faith. So the same problem. So we taught them there. And again, it's interesting how the kids connect. The kids who are bright connect with these kids. They never realized they're actually okay kids, just had no problem. They would ignore them and kind of think it was naughty. The whole story changed. They would actually volunteer, sit with them, 1 to 2, 1 to 4. They play games. The games are all fun, so everybody had fun. And in that fun and play with yoga, they became buddies, right? So now in the playroom, down in the recess, these kids who were naughty and was told off, had a lot of friends around they could yield to, a lot of role models that they felt, well, actually this person's smart, but they're nice, right? And so the whole story changes. It's interesting how much impact just that has. We did one like that in South America, particularly in something called Galapagos Island, you may have heard about, with Darwin's research. Same thing happened. We taught a teacher there who wanted to learn. He's a South American, and he applied it to his class and a couple of classes. Then when we present this work, people take videos from us. And so a place in Turkey, a place in Greece, schools like that all apply this program. And they give us feedback, and every so often we create new elements, we'll send it to them. So it's a wonderful journey, which is very low cost. All these games are very cheap, and the kids don't need any equipment, just don't even need a mat actually. They don't need anything. So and then you don't need teachers who are very difficult, because teachers are very busy. There are very few teachers in many parts of the world where they may not be so wealthy. And so this program works without special teachers, without more than teachers supervising general behavior or the principal. They don't necessarily have to sit and actually do it themselves. So currently the program's running like this in Palitana that we're just initiated earlier this year that I've talked about, and we'll be keeping in touch and supporting that. And we collect data and we publish that. So, it's a powerful way that techniques that we learn from Jainism can be applied, very powerful way. There are other things like that where you may have seen a movie, Tara Zamin Par, which is dyslexia. That is where you switch letters or numbers. So we have a program for those kids also, which We work with a group in Gujarat that's already a non-NGO, and in that school we established that also. So it's a good, simple thing to do that has effect that goes over generations. If you make that child learn better and they're kind of happy, the parents happy, they go home, they kind of maybe get better grades and a better profession, they become wealthy, they have a better family life afterwards. If we didn't do this, and certainly I know many parts don't do this yet because the programs are everywhere, let's say, then those same children tend to get in a lot of trouble. They crashes, they break their bones because they fall over. If they ever get to drive a car, they're the ones who have more crashes. And again, it's not their fault, right? Because they have a system that's not working properly. They often flunk jobs and end up having 2-3 jobs. They have a lot of problem in family life. We know that because that's been known for a long time. That's why it's treated so well. So we're taking somebody like that and making them so much more happier for themselves, and then we all benefit. So anyway, that's kind of a wonderful way to kind of expand what you learned in Jainism. And it's very rewarding. And as I say, the papers are published, well read, and then they get referred to sometimes. So it becomes also a model that others learn. So more recently, that same technique was started in a school here in Orlando for the same benefit. So it's not only for India or poor areas, even in rich areas with the same problem. And they would rather not take medicines. So in practice, in one of the hospitals here, it's used as a method to treat kids if they don't want to take medicines or prefer to use this also. So again, small things, messages from Mara Bhagwan, techniques that some teachers, we apply them, and lo and behold, amazing things happen. And then we apply it to others, and it becomes a duty now, right? It's a responsibility. If it works, then we should spread it. And as we spread it, we start seeing these benefits here and there. So as I say, this is a reason why you need to keep as you grow and learn and study, keep in mind there's a lot you can do, right? It's a lot you can do that you can help with. So, and all the volunteers, by the way, were kids your age, actually. The kids would come from America or England. We had volunteers from India, somebody from Dubai. And so we would take them along. They would learn themselves and then train the others. So they also benefited. So there's a lot of benefits up and down the ladder that people get, which I think makes it even more worthwhile. So keep those in mind. And you can do a lot if you want to yourself. Very simple things. You don't have to do a lot. You can take this if you want to and say, hey, Dr. Mehra, can you give me the package and can I try it at my school? Well, yes, snap. Your teachers will love it. Very simple. They all love it. So
I hope kids, you've heard what he said. If you guys, anybody is interested to take this to your school or would like to volunteer, I guess they're free to contact you. Yes, doctor, is that okay? If they contact you?
I do these trips quite a lot. So of course with COVID, but if anyone wants to join, it's a good way for you to kind of participate and also get your hands into an illness of sorts that is so common that we often ignore it. Yep, and we can teach them how to read. It's a fun thing, and all the volunteers just love it. They get to play with kids, there's games, teach them, and it's a fun thing to do. They actually enjoy it. It's not straightforward studying, yet it's better than straightforward studying in the sense it sets them up to study better over time.
Okay, thank you. I have posted the attendance link, so I request all of you to post your attendance, enter your attendance. We still have a couple more minutes left. Shamini is still wrapping up. That's what I heard. So we have a couple more minutes. Anybody wants to say anything? I'm surprised the kids are very quiet today. I hear there's a whole ruckus going on in the other group, Darshan group, 8 to 14. The kids are having fun over there. So if there's nobody has any questions, why not we do this? Let's do a round of introduction till Shaminiji's come. Okay, I see Shamini over here. Okay, maybe next time we can do a round of introduction. Thank you, Devendra Bhai.
Great.
It was a very interesting discussion also. Thank you for your time.
Very cool. All right, easy.
Now we move on to our next speaker, Shaminiji's, the next topics. Shamini, it's all yours.
Om Rim Namo Arhantanam. Om Rim Namo Siddhanam. Om Rim Namo Ayariyanam. Om Rim Namo Uvachayanam. Om Rim Namo Loe Sabbasahunam. Om Rim Namo Arhantanam. Om Rim Namo Siddhanam. Om Rim Namo Ayariyanam. Om Rim Namo Uvachayanam. Om Rim Namo Loe Sabbasahunam. Om Rim Namo Arhantanam. Om Rim Namo Siddhanam. Om Rim Namo Ayariyanam. Om Rim Namo Uvachayanam. Om Rim Namo Loe Sabbasahunam. Eso Panchanamukkaro Sabbakavakanasano Mangalanam Cha Sabvesim Paramam Havai Mangalam Paramam Havai Mangalam. Manish bhai, can I share screen? Aradhya Kicholame Vandanam, Pankajidode Kicholame Vandanam. Dear students, today's our topic is turning fear into power. All of us have fear. I want to start today's my talk with a story or example, or we can say reality also. And in the present time of COVID-19, like once an epidemic, we can say like COVID-19 was entering a village, and the guard of village asked the epidemic as to how many people it intended to kill. The epidemic replied that it had intentions of killing 500 people. Okay. Now when the epidemic was returning back, the guard stopped and accused it of lying. You said 500, but you killed 1,000 people. The epidemic replied, I killed only 500. The other 500, they died fearing that they had the disease. So it happens. That is the means of fear. Anger, hatred, greed, guilt, and hopelessness are some of the harmful thoughts people carry. But fear tops the list. It can even be fatal. You can say fear is a disease that like a termite, destroys a person's life. Fear makes a person feel inferior. Fear itself, the root cause of most failures. The fear of failure sometimes leads a person to commit suicide also. So it's fear. It's very, you can say, very bad for our life. And we unknowingly carry such dangerous thing within us. We see people around us leading fearful lives. We learn of many tragic events through TV, newspaper, media, YouTube, etc., which take place only due to fear. So, what is fear? When we want to turn fear into power, so first of all, we should know what is fear. When we are thinking about fear, we can get that human react to fear in three ways. First is fight. Muster up courage and fight the source of tension. Or second is flight. Feel terrified and flee frantically to escape. And the third one is freeze, become immobilized, motionless and mute. We are reacting like this, but when we are talking about fear, we're getting three words: fear, phobia, and panic. So what is the difference between fear, phobia, and panic? So first is fear. The starting is a fear, a response to an external threat, and usually it produces changes in suppressed body and action. So the next thing is phobia, an excessive enduring fear of objects or situation that interferes with a person's normal life. That is a phobia. But the third one is panic, intense or overpowering surges of fear. The root cause of all of these is fear. If we don't have fear, we'll not have phobia and panic also. So we should know about fear. So first step, we should accept that we have fear. Many times it happens that we are not accepting that we have fear. So I want that, I think all of you know that which type of fear you have. And when I'm narrating any fear, please note down that which type of fear you have, because it will help you to convert it in your power. So please take your paper and pen. So how many types of fear? So we can say fear of unknown, fear of nature, fear of insecurity, and fear of people. And last one is some fears are also useful for us. So it's useful fear are good, but the rest fear. So first of all, we'll think about fear of unknown. I gave some examples, but it can be many. First is fear of future. So future is unknown and uncertain, and thus people worry about it. Too much anxiety and worry about the future makes us fearful of future. So if you have fear of future, you should think. You can note down. And in the current situation, many people asking us, Samiji, what will be in future? What will be our future? Is this earth going to come destroy? What will happen? But I want to say that no, according to Jainism, the earth will never destroy. And This is the fifth era. Before that sixth era will come, some changes will be there. But still, this is the fifth era and it passed only 2,600 years. Around 2,600 years. And it is its total fifth era is 21,000 years. So it's time, but people have a fear. The next second fear is fear of darkness. I think you will find that you know all these things, but please note down. If you have this type of fear, any fear, so you can work on it. Fear of death. Fear of death is also like we can say that in this world, most of people have fear of death. So when anybody goes to crematorium or that time, they feel more fear, and that's why generally people don't want to take their small kids to crematorium and that, so they don't get fear. And next is fear of God also. Some people have fear of God, that if we'll do this, God will punish us. If we'll eat this, God will punish us. But according to Jainism, there is no God. We ourselves are God. And God is not doing anything with us. Whatever we are doing, we are attracting karma according to our deeds. And according to our deeds, we are attracting that attracted karma replies us. So fear of God is also, people have that fear. Then next is fear of nature. So fear of nature, and fear of nature, we can say fear of animals. Any type of animals or birds. Yeah, because if some people know that there is a cockroach or lizard in the kitchen, that woman, if some woman know, they will not, she will not go. Even some people, say that either they will live in this house or we. So fear of animals is a very, people have that fear also. Fear of animals like dogs and any that harmful creatures. Then fear of disease or illness. When in the current time, when we are hearing about COVID-19, every day and many people get frightened. Many times, youngsters call us and ask, Samiji, what will happen? We have too much fear that what will happen with our family, what will happen with us, how will we survive? COVID-19 is very dangerous. It is spreading all over the world. What I do? What should I do? And what happens? This frightened people then search for symptoms of such diseases in themselves. If they find any which they are sure to, they exaggerate it and start fearing that they have acquired the disease. Because of any allergy, if their nose starts to running, they will think like, oh, maybe I have COVID-19. So this fear also weakens our immune system. Then fear of water. Many people have fear of water. due to this fear, they do not enter any swimming pool or ponds, and the fear even going near water. So it can happen. And next is the fear of open roads on open sky. Some people fear open space. They have difficulty even when crossing highways because they feel that something will happen, something will come to them. And the next is fear of accident and blood. Many people, because we are going here and there in all over the world, so we find all types of people. We meet all types of people, and some people like they have too much fear of accidents and blood. So they don't want to go themselves out of their house, and they also don't allow their family members that they should go out of the house. So it's very hard. And for blood, I can say, yeah, I have the fear of blood. I think because in my childhood, I had some accident or something, I can say, burnt my hand. And it was I was too small. And because of that, I think it happened with me that whenever I see blood, I feel dizziness. I feel like my head is something uneasiness. So fear of blood, also that, and fear of insecurity. Many people have fear of insecurity, like fear of old age. They have fear that in old age we can't work, and if our family will be not with us, who will do our work, and what will happen in our old age. So fear of old age is the insecurities, or fear of heights. When people goes to height, they feel very insecure and they feel dizziness. Or fear of closed places. It happens with many people that when they go to closed places like elevator or anywhere, and they generally if they are alone, they try to avoid elevators. They try to go by stairs because they feel insecurity. They have fear. And fear of number 13 also that. I was discussing with Elder Samijin Pragyaji, and she replied that when she was in London, she found that there is no number 13, no 13th floor in any building. So it's like a fear of 13, number 13. And next is fear of people. Please note down whatever fear you have so you can work on this. Okay? This type of any fear if you have, you can work on it. So fear of people, the first thing is fear of stage. Because we have an audience in front of us and then we get stage fear. And when they have stage fear, when people have stage fear, what they are thinking? They are thinking that if there are 400 people are there, it means 800 eyes are staring them. So it's too hard to bear or deal with them. So because of that, also speakers bring mistakes. Yeah, if they have fear, this I will discuss about it. Spoiler. Then next is fear of teachers. in school or in colleges, and some children fear teachers and ridiculed from their classmates. Due to this fear, they do not attempt to ask questions. They have difficulty even answering the questions they know well. Like you can see here, that small kid answered wrong. 12 minus 3 is equal to 15. So they know, but because of fear, they are doing wrong. Then fear of doctors. Many people fear doctors. Primarily, some fear injections, or they will take the bitterest of medicines, even tolerate health problems, but will avoid taking injection, not to speak of operation. If they can't take injection, how they can face the operation? It's very impossible for them. Then fear of pandits. It's not in America, it's not too much, but in Indian countries, Asian countries, pandits and priests are adept at extracting money from people by creating fear. They make statements such as, the gods are angry with you because you have not performed some specific ritual, or it is very important for the well-being of you and your family. And like this, they are make people to fear. So what happens? The ignorant people believe in them and also fear them. So next is the fear of ghosts. I think many of you have started job, and it can be you. This fear also you can have. People fear their ghosts since their fear being dismissed from their job, and owing to this fear, they are unable to work properly and constantly make mistakes. So these are the fear of people. Then uncommon fear are also there. Some uncommon fears are like fear of stars. Some people have fear of stars, that so they will not go at night time out from their houses or open sky. And then fear of anger. Some people fear what they may do in a fit of rage, breaking things, hitting someone, etc. So they have fear of their own anger. And fear of dying unmarried. Some people fear that they may die before their marriage. So it's also an uncommon fear. And some people have a fear that keeping a big amount, it's a very bad thing, because some people they think that too much money, since they believe that it may invite theft or murder. So these are the uncommon fears. And you can say some fear can be useful also, like if exam fear, students have exam fear of exams, and if that exam fear makes him concentrate better for study, so it is good for him. And fear of audience, like if fear of audience makes speaker prepare his subject matter better, so it is also good for him. I can say that I don't know very proper English, but when I have to give class, I have to prepare more and more. Maybe you'll find that some mistakes are there, but because I have to give speech in English, I have to prepare. So it's like a subject matter. I want to try my better to make my subject matter better. Third, that is fear of ghosts. If someone has fear of ghosts and it makes that person focused on his work, then it is also good. So we can make list more for useful fears. But now I want to discuss about Jainism. According to Jainism, what is fear? Which type of fears are there? So according to Jainism, first is the ihalok bhaya. Ihalok means bhaya means fear. Ihalok means fear of this world. Fear of this world. That in this world they have whatever they have. They feel that it will be separate from there. What will happen if their family will be separate from there? What will happen if their money will go away? Anybody will take their money or their property? What will happen with them? What will they do? So this type of thinking, ये लोक है. Then parlok hai. Parlok. Here parlok is what is parlok. So parlok is like not humans, much rather than human, means animals or any other they have fear of animals, birds and insects that they will be harm them, or they have fear of after birth also. Then adan bhai. Adan bhai, it's like also like whatever I have, and because of that, if I have any prestige and all that things, so it should be not gone. I should have that. So I should maintain my prestige, my name and fame. So I should do something for that. This is the adan hai, fear of that type of fear. Then akasmat hai, fear of accident. So accident is not like only this accident that on road it is happening or anywhere else, but wherever, whatever is that unaccepted or generally it is not happening, it is accident. According to Jainism, in this akasmat bhai is like if any robbery happens with you or any that type of case or this type of accident, anything happens with you, it is akasmat bhai. Then vedana bhai. People have that fear also that if I will have that pain, or how will I suffer it, how will I overcome that pain. So this vedana bhai is there also. And then ashlok bhai. Ashlok bhai, it is like when some people get any post. Now they want to be still on that post. They want to say their post, that this post should be our only, mine only, and all people should respect me, obey me. So there is a ashlok bhai. And then last one is a maran bhai. So death, fear of death. So it has all people, generally all creatures of this world have this death fear. So these are the 7 types of bhai, or we can say fear, according to Jainism, and all these 7 are described in Thanam Sutra, Thanam. So next, what we should do? We accept it. I think you had made the list that which type of fears you have, right? So we accepted it. Now know the cause and eradicate the effects. So what is the cause of this fears? Causes of fear. So first one is our thoughts. Our thoughts are also cause of our fear. When we think negatively, we feel more fearful. I want to share one story about this, that how our thought works. There was a man, and he was lying beneath a wish fulfilling tree. We can say it according to Jainism and Jain terminology, it is a kalpariksha. So he wished that he could have something to eat, and immediately food appeared from the air, thin air. So he ate, and then he thought something should be to drink. Also drink appeared, and he drank that thing. And then next wish was that wealth and based on which that all whatever he wished, he got it. But the last thought was, which thought frightened him. He thought that thieves would kill him and would take away his all belongings. And the next moment, he was dead. So it was only his negative thoughts. The positive thoughts lead to positive events, and negative thoughts invite negative events. Thus, the first important reason for the fear is our own thoughts. Our mind is our wish-fulfilling tree. And second is parents. Sometimes parents in their children's childhood, they are frighten them that if you do this, this will happen. If you not obey us, ghost will come and take you, bring you. So this type of parents' thoughts and this type of their affirmation makes the kids very fearful. Then third one is lack of faith in universal law. This is also we can say that's important cause, because lack of knowledge of universal principles and we can say it's a lack of faith in universal law, we get frightened. People who do not know the principles and rules that govern the event of this world tend to be fearful of dangerous possibilities that surrounded their lives. So those who know the principles and rules of nature live beyond all fears. The fourth cause is collective belief. So what I want to say about this is that one incident. Once it happened in India, in Delhi, that a monkey-faced man attacks people at night. And it featured in TV news, and that further fueled the rumor. It created quite a fear in the surrounding areas, and people stopped moving alone at night. Eventually, it turned out to be a few unconnected mugging instances in the area, which had led to the rumor. So we tend to accept collective beliefs and fear as fact without questioning. So these are collective beliefs are also become reason for our fear. The next is past tragic events. So some events or accidents in person's life create fear. Some people give undue importance to childhood event, and the memory of that event becomes the basis for their related fear in their life. So past tragic events are also the reason for their fear. Then sixth one is ordinary events of daily life. So what are the ordinary events, like when child is there and suddenly what happens, the child drops and breaks a glass article, the parents scold or beat the child. This could create fear in the child for such events. The child sees his father getting upset or some are not lifting the phone properly. He tends to behave similarly when he grows up. When we see people getting tense, worried, fearful over certain things, unless we are alert, we assume this to be normal behavior and start behaving accordingly. So these are the causes of, we can, if we go in depth, we can get more causes, but these are the common causes for fear. So now what the third step? We accepted our fear. We know the cause of fear. Now the third step is weaken the roots of fear. So what we should do to weaken the roots of fear? First step is face the fear. There is no fear. When you are facing the fear, you'll find that there is no fear. No problem. So first step, face the fear. There is no fear. So do the thing you fear, and the fear will disappear. Whatever you have fear, do that thing, and that fear will disappear. If you fear going to kitchen at night, make it a point to go there at night. The fear of going to the kitchen in the dark will disappear. Common sense says that if there is really someone in the kitchen, he can as well come to the bedroom. If someone is in kitchen, he can come to bedroom also. So face the fear and then fear will disappear. The second thing is desensitize yourself towards the fear. If a guest comes to your house and when you are giving attention to them, they will stay at your home, they will talk with you. But if you are not giving any attention, then what will happen? They will not stay at your home. They will think to go as fast as they can. So in the same way, desensitize yourself towards the fear. We should take far from ourselves for that particular situation, or we should not think about that. Then third one is laugh at your fears. Because we know many of our fears are not that like true fear. They are not in real. So we can laugh at our fear. Like if you are afraid of a cockroach and think that I'm afraid of such a small creature, haha, and that will grab me, ha ha ha. So like cockroach can't grab us, it can't do anything wrong with us, but we have fear. So we should think about it and we should laugh at our fear, and by that we can eradicate our fear. Once two friends all dressed up and they were going for an interview, and a bird spilled its droppings on one of them. Now think they are going for interview and it's the first interview, they are well dressed, and one bird droppings on the one of them. The other friend quipped, "Oh no, What will you do now? The first friend removed the stuff with a piece of paper, and it's nothing, thank God, cows don't fly. They both had a heavy laugh and walked on. So anyone can laugh in comfortable conditions, but it takes courage and wisdom. We are celebrating wisdom, right? So it's courage and it's wisdom to face the fear, to laugh at our fear. So it's the courage and wisdom to laugh in adverse conditions. We all laugh at other people's fears and mistakes. But what is more important is to laugh at our own fears and mistakes. So these are the 3 steps. By these steps, we will weaken the roots of fear. We can weaken the roots of fear. The next is, 4th step is, make the tree of fear to fall. We make it weaken. Now we should try to fall it. So how we can fall it? The first step is apply the law of averages. How to apply the law of averages? So in this we can say that one example I want to give, that a person has a fear of accident of train. So he used to fear traveling by train because of the possibility of accident. So what does the law of average say? How many times do trains run between, if I talk about, I don't know about America, but about India. So how many times trains run about between Pune to Mumbai in a year? So answer will be about 10,000 trains or more than it. Okay. How many accidents take place in a year? 2, 3 or 5. Okay. What are the chances of accident occurring in a train one is traveling in? 5 out of 10,000. It means that is 0.05%, right? So in contrast, when a farmer plugs his field, there is about 50% possibility of no rain, less rain or too much rain. Yet he plugs his field. Should one then spoil his journey fearing something that has only a 0.05% possibility of occurring? Right? No. One more example, that a student used to fear failing in exams. So what does the law of average say? How many exams has that student taken till now? Say about 100. Then though he has felt this fear of failure before each of those exams, right? So how many times he had actually failed? How many times? So never. But let us suppose that he has failed once. So what is the probability of his failing this time? 0% or just 1%, right? So if there is a 1% possibility of failing, then why fear? We should not fear. So law of averages, we should apply the law of averages. The second step for this is rational logical thinking. Rational or logical thinking. So what is it? We all have intellect, but we don't always use it, right? Fear is in many situations can be overcome by simple use of common sense and rational thinking. Once a man was going for an interview. He was muchly afraid in his situation. Let us see, can get over his fear by using his rational. So rational thinking, are you going there to beg them for something? Interviewer, no, I'm going to the response to their advertisement for a job in the newspaper. Okay, if you don't perform well, are they going to beat you up? No, they will not touch me. Okay, so the worst that can happen is that you will not get the job you never had, and you will still gain the useful experience of having attended this interview. What are they afraid of? Right? So thus we must deploy intellect and wisdom in every situation to keep the fear at bay. You can use rational thinking or overcome most fear. Say you are afraid of cockroaches. These are the common sense questions you need to ask yourself. What harm can this small creature do to me? Can I kill it easily? If so, I decided, but according to Jainism, we should not kill them, okay? So we should fear whom? Do I fear the cockroach or should the cockroach fear me? So by applying this rational thinking, we can overcome the fear. The third step is internal guidance or intuition. We sometimes choose one output of many options based not on factual data but on our inner gut feeling, our inner gut feelings, or that choice proves right. So this is intuition power. We all have it. You can feel it whenever you want to do something and you have many choices of so which choice is right. You can feel that, yeah, this is right or this is wrong. So how do birds fly away even before an impending mashup is to occur? It is intuition that guides him. In the Himalaya region, just 1 month before the start of snowfall, birds start flying. Where? Towards the warmer region. The most advanced of instruments fail to predict the advent of snowfall correctly, but these birds are never wrong. Who is guiding them? It is intuition. I remember when we were in Kathmandu, Nepal, before maybe 3-4 years, there was a very, I can say what term? It was earthquake, very big, very dangerous situation was that. That time I was studying masters, so I used to study till night, late night. I always every day heard the crying of dogs and cats, and generally I used to say logos that time, but I felt generally when I chant logos, they stop that crying, but that in those days they didn't stop it. They continuously keeping crying and crying, and after a few days there was earthquake because they knew it in advance. It was the intuition. And after earthquake also, when aftershocks were coming, before aftershocks, before few seconds, whole crows start to chirping or like they start to noise, and by that we got that, yeah, now again so aftershock will come. So they have intuition, and also we have intuition. So intuition means tuition from within. You know tuition, right? So what is intuition? Intuition is a tuition from within. So we should use our intuition power also. And this is also, we can say, I want to give some fear liberating mantra or meditation and something. So first of all, according to Jainism, we are God. All souls have the capacity that they can be a God. They can be a pure soul. So keep in your mind that I have infinite energy, infinite knowledge, all, and I can be a God. So nobody can do wrong with me. The second thing is third camera technique. For this, I want to say that take a deep breath, slowly exhale, close your eyes, and whatever you make, I know that you make a list, so imagine, start to imagine. Whatever I am suggesting you, start to imagine that you are standing a top of balcony of the third floor of a house, or that you are poised at the corner of the ceiling or roof in an empty room. Then from the top, see a second image of yourself. See the second image of yourself with a stick in your hand. Now see yourself reading the object of your fear. It could be an insect, an animal, or anything. For whatever you have fear. From the top, see the object of your fear on the ground in front of your second image. For example, if you fear an insect, see the insect in front of you. If you fear of any animal, see that animal in front of you. Now see your second image pushing away the insect with the stick. See the insect approaching you once more. Once more, push it away with the stick. See this rapidly. Remember, you are only seeing this from quite far, from a top of ceiling or from the top of the balcony. You are enjoying pushing away the insect that you are doing repeatedly. Now see yourself pushing away the insect and simultaneously hear the band of the circles playing in the background. You are now pushing away the insect on the beats of the music. This might seem quite funny. Once you are able to see the complete picture with music clearly, now see the same picture in the quick motion in the reverse order repeatedly, as if you have pushed the rewind button in your mind. Now see the same picture rapidly in the forward order as if you have pushed the fast forward button in your mind. The speed of things occurring should go up significantly, and so will the pace of music. Having seen it in the reverse and forward directions, see it happening in slow motion. Now ask yourself, how do you feel now? Is the fear still unpleasant? Repeat the visualization technique. You can repeat it. But now, for now, slowly open your eyes. You can visualize this technique for any type of fear. You may even use it for stage fear or anything. If you have stage fear, instead of insect, you can see audience, that audience are there and you are giving speech. You are a very good speaker and they are appreciating you. You can see all that things. So these are the very good things. Okay, one more thing I want to, if you have paper and pen, I want to see you, like I want to meet you with a world's greatest psychiatrist. Do you want to write their name? If you want to write world's greatest psychiatrist name. So first you can write the sentence. There is one very good psychiatrist who can rid you of all your fears. Take down his name and address. First name, keep the blank, then address, keep it also blank. Okay. Now at the name, at the place of name, write your full name. And at the address, place of address, write your address. Yes, you are the psychiatrist who will drive away your fears. The others can guide you, give you a book or cassettes or preaching, lecture, but finally you have to act and win over the fears. So some more things according to this is meditation, visualization you can use. Then one mantra is Namo Abhadayanam. If you feel that I can't do meditation, but I can do chanting, so this is a very good mantra. Namo Abhadayanam. You can chant daily, one rosary, 108 times, this mantra, Namo Abhadayanam, and you will feel with this mantra, when you do this mantra, you'll feel that your fears are going away. The next thing is contemplation of fearlessness and practice meditation. It's very scientifically, this contemplation is that contemplation of fearlessness. So you can also do that. And one more thing is color meditation. If you like color meditation, you can do bright pink colors meditation. It is also good for to eradicate your fear, to destroy, to remove your fears. Okay, so thank you. If any of you have any question. Otherwise, Manoj bhai.
Naveen Mansani, thank you very much for this great session. And I hope kids have taken all the notes. And we'll see you again all next time. Thank you.
मंगल पाठ.
Mangal Path, Shamilaji.
Yeah. नमो अरहंताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो वच्छायणं नमो द्वे सब्बसाहुणं एसो पंचनमुक्कारो सब्बपावपणासनं मंगलाणं च सब्बेसिं परमं भवे मंगलं चत्तारि मंगलम् अरहंता मंगलं सिद्धा मंगलं साहु मंगलं केवली पन्नक्तो धम्मो मंगलं चत्तारि लोकोत्तमा अरहंता लोकोत्तमा सिद्धा लोकोत्तमा साहु लोकोत्तमा केवली पन्नक्तो धम्मो लोकोत्तमो चत्तारि शरणं पवच्छामि अरहन्ते शरणं पवच्छामि सिद्धे शरणं पवच्छामि साहु शरणं पवच्छामि केवली पन्नत्तं धम्मं शरणं पवच्छामि विघ्नहरण मंगलकरण स्वाम भिक्षुनो नाम गुणोलक समरण किया सरे अचिंत्याकाम सरे अचिंत्याकाम सरे अचिंत्याकाम.
वंदामिनम स्वामी शमनी जी.
आधन
सुखसातम.
हाँ गुरुदेव के पास जाता है.
तो से
मनोज भाई
हाँ शमनीजी.
રેકોર્ડિંગ પણ બંધ કરી શકીએ અને નેક્સ્ટ ટાઈમ આપણે ધ્યાન રાખવાનું બીજું સેશન ચાલુ